Game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. We are live once again. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in and who will tune in later. If you're watching the playback, make sure you smash that like button and show your boy BT some love. And in this live right here, like you guys can see, I'm in the hotel. I was very exhausted from last night. I had a great time. I think Pops had the time of his life last night. We met a lot of great people. I want to give a special shout out to my main man, Major Key Boxing and Ghana Local Sports. I had a chance to meet both of them. I didn't get a chance to talk to them as much as I wanted to, but I met both of them, and they're both great. So shout out to both of them. Make sure you guys go subscribe to both Ghana Local Sports and Major Key Boxing because great people they're both great people who really love the sport of boxing. So um, in this particular live, I'm gonna give you guys my synopsis on the fights that happened last night, as well as what they all mean for the future, as well as just my whole experience around the fight. If you're here, smash that like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Shout out to my man John Tovar. He says, "Are you still in Florida?" Yes, I am. I am still in Florida. I live in Florida, but right now I'm not in Miami or Hollywood. I'm in Kissimmee, Florida, which is like by Orlando. So yeah, I am. Who cares? What's good, champ? How you living? You all right? Good to see you. So I wanted to just talk about what was the real main event. The real main event because, and I have to say this because Edgar Berlanga was, even though he wasn't the main event technically, because he was the co-main event, he was really the main event. When at the arena last night when he fought, I would say like 40 to 45 to 40% of the crowd left. 40 to 45% of the crowd left once Berlanga got done fighting. 40 to 45% of that crowd was out of there. So they didn't even see the damn main event. So that goes to show you the kind of star power that he has. I talked to a lot of people in different sections last night as I was making my way through the fight, and overall, what I come to find out is I ran into a lot of people who who were there just for Edgar Balanga. And truthfully speaking, like, look, I don't live anywhere near Kissimmee. I live all the way in Miami. And I spent good money on these tickets. And I don't think I would have spent the money I spent and been happy if Edgar Balanga wasn't fighting. You know what I'm saying? So even with me, I was there to watch boxing, obviously. But I was really, really there to see Edgar Balanga. So that's what it is, man. But as far as this fight with Nicholson, and by the way, shout out to Kind of Local Sports. He says salute. Shout out to you, champ. Mike Cotto was good. I'm gonna get to everybody's questions in due time, so just and quick comments in due time, so just bear with me. So as far as Berlanga with Nicholson, I thought it wasn't necessarily what the crowd wanted, because obviously everybody wanted to see Edgar Berlanga knock this guy out in the first round and continue his dominant knockout streak, right? But that wasn't in the cards, and it wasn't what everybody wanted. But I think it's what the career of Edgar Berlanga needed. He needed that fight. He needed those 8 rounds. He needed someone that was going to move, make him think, and force him to dig into those deeper parts of his skill set, of the skills that he does have. Because going into this fight, we knew Edgar Berlanga was explosive. We knew he could punch. We know he's a fucking monster. But we didn't know a lot of people didn't know what Edgar Berlanga could do as far as other things. We didn't know if how good his defense was, because he's never been, touched. We didn't know he can cut out the ring. We didn't know how good his timing was. So this fight was the beginning of starting to answer those questions. I saw Edgar Berlanga very patient in there, pressing him with that jab. I saw Edgar Berlanga throwing some really good counter punches. I believe it was the second knockdown. It might have been the second knockdown, because there were like 3 or 4 knockdowns. It was the second knockdown. Nicholson threw a right hand. He tried to slip under the right hand after he threw it, and bang, bang, right on the top of the head. Balanga scored a knockdown. So he showed good timing. He showed good patience. He showed good poise in there. And it was a good win against a solid veteran. But I would be remiss and I would be dishonest to everybody watching this video and everybody who will watch this video. I'd be very dishonest if I didn't tell you that I think this kid needs a lot of work. I think Edgar Balanga needs a lot of work. My dad, and you guys can go check the video. My dad was saying that he was having some fun in the crowd debating with people about Edgar Berlanga versus Canelo. I still think Edgar Berlanga needs three to five fights, 3 to 5, maybe 6 fights before he even fights the Canelo. I don't think Canelo is a killer like everybody else. Everybody says he's this killer. I don't see him as a killer, but I just think Berlanga has some things he needs to work on. Like I was telling my dad last night. I told my dad, I said, look, Berlanga, one thing that he doesn't really do in any of his fights is he doesn't really do a lot of feinting. He's patient, yes. He's got good defense, yes. But he doesn't do a lot of feinting. He doesn't, create those openings via feints. And, he just kind of comes to the front door. He comes to the front door and he tries to press these guys and break them down. And I was telling my dad, like, the next fight that I think is realistic, that I would love to see for Edgar Berlanga, would be the Jesse Hart fight. I think the Jesse Hart fight would be perfect because first and foremost, Jesse Hart is a top ranked fighter, so it's an in-house fight. It's easy to make because of the political reasons. Jesse Hart and Edgar Berlanga have a common opponent, which was Desmond Nicholson, whom Edgar Berlanga fought last night. Nicholson fought Berlanga, and he went the full 8 rounds with him. Nicholson fought Jesse Hart, and Jesse Hart stopped Nicholson in 7 rounds. You see what I'm saying? So Nicholson, Hart actually did better. He did better against Nicholson than Berlanga did. So I would like to see that fight because Jesse Hart, people can say what they want about him, but he's rangy, he's tall, he can box real good at times. And if he somehow decides to put it all together on that one night, I think it could be it would be a good fight for Berlanga, a tough fight for Berlanga. I mean, we saw in this fight, right? We saw in this fight, Nicholson. I don't think he won any rounds. He might have maybe nicked 1 round, but I don't think he won any rounds. But Nicholson was moving, and at times he was having some success against Berlanga. Now, if Hart can employ that same game plan, and Hart can move around the ring and use that range, because you gotta remember, Jesse Hart at 168, he got them tree trunks, he got them telephone poles. He's long and he's rangy, and I think it has the potential. It has the potential to be a tough fight for Balanga. You know what I'm saying? Hart is somebody with everybody who. Hart is somebody that has everything to gain and nothing to lose from a Balanga fight. He's already been like he was supposed to be the next. He was supposed to be a big star, years ago, and supposed to be a champion. All this stuff. He didn't amount to that. He lost to Gilberto Ramirez twice. He's lost to Sullivan Barrera at 175. He hasn't been what Top Ring was hoping he'd be. So there's no pressure on Jesse Hart. All the pressure be on Berlanga, and on top of that, Jesse Hart or Berlanga, anytime Berlanga fights, like what you guys don't understand is Berlanga is becoming a very quick rising superstar right before our eyes. Every fight this guy fights that he has is gonna be very, very difficult. It's gonna be very, very he's gonna have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, not just to deliver for himself and for his fans, but for Puerto Rican boxing. Because the reality is this: Miguel Cotto's shoes have not been filled yet since he retired from the sport for the Puerto Rican fighters. And Berlanga looks like he could be that next guy to fill those shoes. Now, we've heard this before. We heard this story before with Felix Verdejo. That didn't pan out. But Berlanga, I think even more so, has more pressure on his shoulders because of the fact that he's got the superstar qualities that Verdejo didn't have. He's got the celebrities on his side. He's got a big reach, and I don't think that should be underestimated. You know what I'm saying? But overall, with Nicholson, credit to Nicholson. Nicholson went in there and he did what he could do. He smothered Balanga's shots in spots of the fight. He used his lateral movement. He tied him up a lot. And credit to him, he did what no other man has done before. He cracked the code and ended the streak. He ended the first round knockout streak, and he ended the KO streak all together. And he went the full 8 rounds. So I think Nicholson in the future, you'll see Nicholson in fights get more opportunities because of that. Because he's shown on more than one occasion in his career he can go around. So big shouts out to Desmond Nicholson for a spirited effort last night. Just didn't have the tools to beat a Berlanga. Let's see who we got. We got my man NR Mike Cotto. He says, "Yo, Berlanga can punch. Is Berlanga still going to fight Gabe Rosado this summer?" I don't know what he's gonna do. I think that would be a blockbuster fight if they could do it in New York City, or hell, if they could do it here in Kissimmee, which is basically like Kissimmee, Florida. For those of you who don't know, Kissimmee, Florida is basically like little New York. At the arena last night, I felt like I was in New York City last night. I met people from the Brooklyn, the Bronx. It was crazy. It's crazy. So even if they want to do that, if they can't do it in New York because of the pandemic, do it in Kissimmee, Florida, and it'll sell. Shout out to my main man, Brandon Lentz. Hope you're well, Brandon. Good to see you. He's got quite a lot to say. I like Brandon. He gives good comments, and he's a good person to talk to. He says, man, what? I guarantee you Berlanga's next fight will be a step back. He damn sure not fighting no Jesse Hart next. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think Top Rank's going to take their time with him. They can't be fucking up that investment. They can't mess up. They can't at all mess up what could be the next star in Puerto Rican boxing. That's something that boxing hasn't had for a long time. Boxing hasn't had a Puerto Rican star in such a long time that I almost forget the value of a Puerto Rican star. Gano Loco says, you met me too. I know, I mentioned you, Gano. I mentioned you. I did meet you, and it was great meeting you, man. I'm going to definitely, I was telling my dad last night, I was telling him, like, I want to try to come up here for more fights. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Kissimmee. It was great. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, but Berlanga, good for him, man. He got the rounds. He showed a really good hard jab. Even showed some defense a couple of times later on in the fight. And yeah, you can't knock him. I'm just surprised that he couldn't show that extra bit of quality against Nicholson. But that's credit to Nicholson. Nicholson's a good. Nicholson's a very good, experienced fighter, savvy veteran. Been in there with a lot of other good fighters. So it's not the most surprising thing in the world. But as far as the undercard, and I'll get to the undercard. You guys can continue. You guys continue to drop your comments, and I'll get to them in a timely manner. I want to talk about some of the fights early in the undercard. We had what's his name? We had Xander Zayas. Listen, Xander Zayas. Shout out to Xander Zayas. He's Puerto Rican, obviously, but you know where he's from as well. By way of South Florida, via the Davy Powell. I had a chance to watch Xander Zayas fight for the first time in person, which is not much difference from seeing him train because he trains the way he fights. He trains the way he fights, or he fights the way he trains. I should say. And last night, I can't even remember the name. I can't even remember the name of the guy he fought, but the guy he fought from Arkansas, he knocked him out in the first round. It was probably the most dominant performance of the night because he wasted no time. He just fielded him out a little bit, touched him a couple times, got his range, darted in, darted out, and eventually he hit him with a left hook and then I think a right hand. And there really isn't much to dissect. Just another good win from Xander Zayas. I think the one thing that I'm starting to notice with Xander is more than anything, his physical strength is coming into play because I can remember clearly like 3 fights ago, I'd watch Xander sometimes and he was good, but sometimes I feel like he's throwing punches as hard as he can, but there's not that extra oomph behind the punches, And in this fight, there was that extra bit of oomph behind them punches. He was throwing them grown man punches. He was handing out rib dinners, and I'll be honest with you. This is only my opinion, so don't shoot the messenger. But personally, for me, I like Xander Zayas more as a prospect than Edgar Balanga. I like Berlanga. I think Berlanga probably has more superstar qualities, and he could be a bigger star in terms of pay-per-view buys and things like that. But the better fighter to me, as they develop and get better, to me, for my money, is Xander Zayas. I think Xander Zayas has a good blend, a very good blend, a very good combination of punching power, speed, footwork, confidence, all those things. Berlanga, to me, when I watch him fight, he's very good, but I feel like he leans more towards being a power puncher, a guy that wants to get you out of there more so than a technical boxer. There's nothing wrong with that. He has that get out of jail free card anytime he gets in trouble. But if we're talking about longevity and who's gonna have the better career, my money would be on Xander Zayas. That's just me though. I know it's early in the game and you don't want to make any premature predictions or put any of these guys in the Hall of Fame. But I really like Xander Zayas as a prospect. So yeah, good performance for him. Another fighter who I like and I've liked him for quite some time. Even though I don't think I've ever made any videos about this guy. Yeah, I haven't, but I do like him. And I know my boy Gano Loco Sports was there just for this guy. He told me. Orlando Capo Gonzalez. He had a very, very good fight with Juan Manuel Lopez, the tough veteran. Juan Manuel Lopez. By the way, there's 22 in here. I only got 5 likes. Stop being stingy. Smash that like button so YouTube knows that you rock with your boy BT and the Untouchable. Um, Orlando Capo Gonzalez, man. I don't know his like. Ghana local could tell you his amateur background better than me, but I know that with um Orlando Capo Gonzalez, he's someone that has like 400, 500 amateur fights. You know, he's probably won a bunch of national titles and tournaments and things like that. But you watch him fight, right? And I like him a lot because you watch him fight, and he's got good patience. He's not too patient, but he's patient with a purpose. He's patient with a purpose. He's changing levels. He's feinting, foot feints, shoulder feints. You know, he's touching you. He's probing with the jab. He's doing things to try to create openings, and he's always thinking in there. He's always thinking. There's not a second in any round that Orlando Cabo Gonzalez is in the ring where he's not in there thinking, where he's not in there doing something to try to set up his next move, and that's a professional trait. You know, those are the traits that you want in a high level professional fighter. And you know, he fought a guy in Lopez who's been around the block, been in there with you know, top fighters, and you know, he had him hurt a couple times, and he did a good job neutralizing him with the body punching because Lopez knew. I think it was around like round 4, round 5. Lopez kind of figured out that there was no way in hell that he had that he had a chance to win a fight at mid range or the outside. So what wound up happening was he made the conscious decision to press forward, get in his chest, and try to smother those shots and make it more of his fight. And I thought Capo did a good job of being very patient, trying to step back and land those punches to the body. And he just did a good job in that regard. You know, I was really impressed with his patience and his composure. And I already knew he was a good technical fighter because the amateur background doesn't lie. He has that. He has the good technical foundation in place. He just doesn't have. I had never seen someone go on his chest like that, like Lopez did, and I was really impressed with what I saw from him. So good performance from him. You know, he's, in my opinion, you know, I don't know as many Puerto Rican fighters as Ghana local sports, but for the Puerto Rican fighters that I do know, he's probably, to me, one of the top 7 or 6 best fighters in Puerto Rican boxing right now. He just doesn't have that promotional push, and a lot of people don't know about him yet. But last night, if you tune into ESPN Plus, Orlando Cabo Gonzalez boxed a very, very good fight. And every time I see him fight, it's a very, very intelligent fight from him. Let me see. We got a lot of people in the comments, man. Gilberto Ramirez versus Edgar Balanga would be nice if Balanga keeps this up. Well, that's not going to happen because Gilberto actually just moved up to light heavyweight. So Gilberto is actually trying to get a fight with Dimitri Bivol later on in the year. So that's probably not too likely. Jesus M says Alexis Angulo versus... That'd be a great fight. Angulo is tough, you know, durable, you know, trains really, really hard. I've seen him train. You know, he's a product of the Mundo Boxing Gym. And we've seen him upset prospects like Anthony Sims Jr., and we've seen him go around to Benavidez, so we know what Angulo's bringing to the table, you know? Yeah, but, you know, this... Oh, Jed Kyle, what's up, champ? I didn't even get to your comment, Jed. Good to see you, Jed. Hope you're good. Shout out to you out there in Australia. Andre says, how was the atmosphere for the main event, BT? So okay, so for Pitufo, for Christopher Diaz and Navarrete, it was kind of anticlimactic. Like, it was a good atmosphere. But considering what the atmosphere was like when Berlanga had just fought in the previous fight, it was anticlimactic, especially for the first half of the fight. Kissimmee, Florida is a predominantly Puerto Rican area, so, you know, obviously the majority of the arena was Puerto Ricans, you know, Boricuas. You know, we were there in full effect, and, you know, people were there supporting Pitufo Diaz. Now, I'll be honest with you, in my section, I had a lot of Puerto Ricans around me. I told them, look, Christopher Pitufo Diaz gonna get his fucking ass beat. That's what I said. He gonna get his ass beat by Navarrete. He ain't winning because I seen him fight. I give him credit because he fought way better than I thought he would. I actually thought this fight was going to be a lot more lopsided, to be honest. He fought way better than I thought he did, especially towards the back half of the fight. You know, it looked like there are pockets in the fight, in the middle of the rounds and in the later rounds, where Pitufo would take Navarrete to these deep, dark, uncomfortable places that we talk about here on True School Sports. And then what will wind up happening is he would land that first big shot. So let's say Navarrete throws a jab, right? If he throws a jab, and P2 counters over the jab, he would land the counters perfectly, flush, like easy. And then what would happen is, because of what he was getting hit with earlier in the fight, he didn't want to go right at Navarrete, because he knows the minute he comes in, Navarrete is going to throw 4, 5, 6, 7 punch combinations, and he was getting hit with some crazy shots all night. So with that being said, I was impressed with the durability of Pitufo. I didn't think Pitufo was going to be able to be in there and be as durable as he was. So I was happy to see that. Guido, what's up? Guido Pion, what's up, champ? He says, what's up, BT? Nice talking to you last night, bro. Salute. Yeah, man. I wish last night I was telling my dad last night, I felt kind of weird meeting Glenn, because when I met him, I was extremely exhausted and I barely had my voice. It was hard talking last night, so I felt weird meeting him, because I don't even feel like he met the real BT, because I was like dead tired, and because I'd stayed up the previous night doing stuff. But yeah, good talking to you, man. Thank you for everything. I mean, I wish we could talk longer, but it overall was good. The fights were good. Everything was great. I'm gonna tell you all this. Now, look, the card was great. The card was cool, but I'm gonna tell you guys what my favorite moment of yesterday was. This might have been one of the greatest moments of my life yesterday. And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted about this. You'll know what I'm talking about. Before I got to the fights yesterday, I went over to the hotel where the fighters were staying at, because I was told to meet Kano Loco Sports there, so that's where I went. So as I'm looking for Kano Loco, right? As I'm walking around the hotel looking for Kano, I'm walking, right? And I see Timothy Bradley just sitting down. So I see Timothy Bradley sitting down, and you guys gotta understand, just so you guys understand how crazy, how important this is for me. Timothy Bradley, most of you may not even know this. Timothy Bradley is one of my favorite fighters, like one of my favorite fighters. When I was first learning how to box many years ago, I used to watch Timothy Bradley highlights on my phone from time to time before I go to training. So he's a personal favorite of mine. I love Timothy Bradley. So when I saw him, I don't really get nervous around fighters. It's very rare that I get nervous. I met fighters way more famous than Timothy Bradley, and I don't get nervous around them. But for Timothy Bradley, it's more of like a sentimental thing, so I got a bit nervous at first. But then I got it together, and I went over to him, and I said, "What's up, Tim? Could I interview you or whatnot?" Because I have my little tripod in my hand. And he didn't know who I was at first, but then I pulled my mask down and I told him who I was, and Timothy Bradley knows who I am. It was insane. Timothy Bradley knew about True School Sports. He said, what did he say? Timothy Bradley said, "Oh, yeah, I've seen you before, bro. Yo, you do good work. Like, you got really good insights on boxing, man. You doing a hell of a job, man. Keep doing what you're doing." Like, he was really, really nice. Like, he was really nice, and he was like, he knew who I was. It was the craziest shit in the world. And I asked him for his Instagram or his number or something like that, so he could do an interview when he has time. He said he doesn't really give those things out, so he gave me his wife's email, and he said anytime you want to do an interview, we can do it. So he was really nice, and like it was crazy to me, because when, like years ago when I first started making videos on YouTube, I used to watch Timothy Bradley and make videos about Timothy Bradley all the time, made videos about Timothy Bradley, and to hear him say that to me was like wow, like all the work you put in is slowly paying off. People are paying attention, so it's always a good thing. But that to me was one of the greatest moments of my life, when you can have a fighter that you really admire know who you are before you meet them. That was just crazy to me. That was crazy. So shout out to Timothy Bradley. I hope to see him again in the future. After I met Timothy Bradley, I actually ran into Brian McIntyre, Terrence Crawford's trainer. I didn't talk to him too long because I had to leave, but he was really nice too. So that, to me, that little 5 minutes of time was the highlight of the day. But I know you guys don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about these fights. So let me see. Let's get some comments. Shout out to my man Justin from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let me see. The Florida fighter did well today. They did. Berlanga versus Lionel Thompson. That will never happen. Lionel Thompson can't get fights. He's like the Demetrius Andrade of like 168. He can't get fights with nobody. Will you ever join the alliance with the Ldbc and help them push narratives and lies? No, not gonna join anybody. I'm BT. I'm myself. I'm a lone wolf. Like I don't do that stuff. I don't join nobody's alliance. I'm myself. Was there Mexicans at the fight? There was. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, Jesus M. There were Mexicans at the fight. And it's funny because after Navarrete beat Diaz, right? There were Mexicans sitting to my left in the next section over, and a fight almost broke out in our section. Like these three like Puerto Ricans came down. One had like a Pittsburgh Pirates Roberto Clemente jersey on. Another guy had his fucking hair dyed blonde. It was crazy, and like it was about to go down, but luckily cooler heads prevailed and nothing happened. Hey, Brandon Lentz, you know the deal. Tim Bradley is one of the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. He probably is. He might be. He didn't say he was. I didn't ask him, but he knew who I was. Like the minute it was crazy. The minute I took my mask off, I kid you not. The minute I took my mask off in the hotel, and I started telling him about who I am, he's like, "Yo, I seen you before," and he had this serious look in his eye. He was like, "Yo, I seen you before, man. You do good work. You do good work, man. Like I like your insights on boxing." And then what was crazy was after he made that statement, Timothy Bradley started picking my brain. He started asking my opinion for what was gonna happen with these with certain fights. So he would say he asked me about, he's like, "Who do you think wins the main event tonight between Diaz and Navarrete?" I told him Navarrete. I got it right. Then he asked me about Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence. I said, Terrence Crawford, man. And I know he liked that because he's obviously a big Terrence Crawford guy, being that he was his sparring partner and whatnot, and they're friends. So, yeah, it was a surreal experience. It was a surreal experience, and I'm going to be going a lot more of these fights. You know, it's good. It's good after all these years to be able to get out a little more. See, the Gambler, shout out to my man John the Gambler. He says the Gambler strikes again. Felix Cash is a rising star. You know what? I haven't even watched that fight, but I did see the result. I saw that he stopped Denzel Bentley in the third round. So I know my man, my friend, my boy Hashman Boxing is somewhere crying himself to sleep because Denzel Bentley's his guy. But Felix Cash is a very underrated fighter. You know, and he's trained by, in my opinion, the most underrated trainer in British boxing, which is Tony Sims. Tony Sims is doing a great job training all of his fighters right now. Got guys like Conor Benn, guys like John Ryder, guys like you mentioned, Felix Cash. I'm a huge fan of Tony Sims as a trainer. That's actually somebody that I think I would like to interview in the future, is Tony Sims. Let's see. But it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We here, man, just trying to recover from last night. Last night it was crazy. It was just crazy. Pops, Pops. I'm gonna put out later on today. I'm gonna put out the full, like round by round reaction of the Berlanga fight, because I actually recorded the whole round by round reaction. The clip that I've already posted earlier, that's just a small snippet, because I think the video is like 38 minutes long. But I have the whole round by round reaction coming out later on today. So be on the lookout for that. Pops was lit. I mean, Pops was going nuts. Pops had the Puerto Ricans on his side. Pops had there was a bunch of people from Washington D.C., a bunch of Desmond Nicholson's people. Even those people loved Pops, and you'll see it in the video, man. It was just one of the best times of our lives last night, you know. And my dad really enjoyed himself. I mean, there was a couple in front of us at first, and they didn't like my dad at first because he was doing a lot of yelling and he was loud, and I guess they got annoyed. But then by the end of the night, they love my dad, you know. And then this guy's wife was telling us to go sit next to her, and we were like, no, we're not gonna do that, because she was kind of attractive, and we try to relax. We don't want no problems at the fight, and overall was a great night. It was a great night. I heard a fight break out last night. There were a couple. I mean, there weren't any directly in my section, but there was one to my left. There was one to our left, and there was one on the floor. There were two like big brawls that broke out on the stands last night that I saw. Jesus M says, did people recognize you guys full capacity, and were there any ladies there? Oh my lord. Okay, so I'm gonna answer that last question. Were there any ladies there? Oh my God! I felt like I was in motherfucking San Juan, Puerto Rico. It was great. It was amazing. Oh my lord! I didn't know Kissimmee, Florida had this out here. I was telling my dad, I said if I knew Kissimmee, Florida had this type of heat out here with the women, I would have came out here a long time ago. Um, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So yeah, to answer your question, yes. As far as people recognizing us, I mean, not a whole lot of people recognized us, but it's okay. Like I don't really care if they do, but like here and there, I mean, I think aside from Ghana local and Major Key, I think I had like two or three people come up to me and say, "Hey, what's up, BT? True School." So it was pretty cool actually. But like last year, it was only one person that recognized me. Now it's like two or three. So it's getting up there. It's getting crazy right now. You know, the last weekend at the Davy Powell, I had this like 13-year-old kid, this 12-year-old kid who I never met in my life. He came up to me and he was like, "Yo, man, True School, I'm subscribed to you, man. Oh, I love your channel. I watch your videos a lot." You know, I think his name was Malo. His name was Malo. So shout out to my boy Malo from the Davy Powell. But yeah, it was probably one of the most exciting events boxing wise I've ever gone to. Where we at? Where we at? What was the one out? Oh, Jesus M says Berlanga versus Steve Nelson. Now, that's a fight that I was talking about a while ago, you know, because Steve Nelson, top ranked guy, can punch, would really be something for Balanga that would be a test, you know. Because Nicholson's not really a big puncher, and Nicholson didn't really touch Balanga too cleanly on the chin last night. I want to see what happens to Berlanga if a guy like Steve Nelson punches him on the chin, because while Steve Nelson doesn't have the boxing skills of a Nicholson, Steve Nelson throws them grown man punches. He throws them punches to get you out of there. So I would love that fight if they can make it next. You know. Yeah, Xander Zayas is the real deal. Oh my God! Now listen, I'm Ali 313 Detroit. Detroit, what's up? How you doing, Ali? He says that to me was the fight of the night, truthfully, and I'm glad you brought it up because I almost forgot to mention it. So you had Joseph Adorno against Jermaine Ortiz, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who Jermaine Ortiz was by name. I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was by name until like the second round of that fight. Because when the fight was happening, I googled his name, and then I realized that he was the guy who fought Suleiman Sagawa and knocked him out on the Mike Tyson Roy Jones undercard. So in the second round, when I found that out, he had already been dropped. I think at that point in time, I told my dad when he got up, I said, "Look, Jermaine Ortiz gonna beat the shit out of Adorno," because I remember that fight, and he left an impression on me, and I liked what I saw. And he was doing good, man. You know, I love what I saw from Jermaine Ortiz. He just, you know, and you gotta give credit to Adorno. You gotta give credit to Adorno. You know, all Ortiz had to do was just avoid getting in touch with any hard counter punches, because that was, if you look at the fight, that was the only success that Adorno had, was landing the hard counter punches that dropped Ortiz. When he couldn't land those hard counters and Ortiz was backing him up, and Ortiz was throwing double jabs, right hands, going to the body, he was having the fight his way. And I was very pleasantly surprised with how durable Adorno was. I mean, he got caught with some serious shots. I mean, hard flush shots. And Ortiz was putting them punches together. And I truly believe, if the fight had been 10 rounds, if the fight would have been 12 rounds, I think the fight would have been a different outcome. I think Ortiz would have actually, in the back half of that fight, broke him down and got him out of there. Because, literally, in the 8th round, Adorno didn't want no more smoke. He was done. And so if he would have had 4 more rounds of that, it would have been over. I think, and I want to see a rematch. I'll like for top ranked boxing and Bob to put together a rematch, but don't make it 8 rounds. Don't bail out Adorno like that. Make it 10 rounds, 12 rounds, you know, it is what it is. Now, my guy Ali 313 said a lot of people had Ortiz winning regardless of the knockdowns. Well, that's mathematically impossible. It's actually mathematically impossible, right? I'm pretty sure it's mathematically impossible for him to win that fight, because of the fact that Adorno had 2 10-8 rounds. So if he has 2 10-8 rounds, he's already up 4 points. The fight's only 8 rounds. If you're up 4 points, you're already up half the rounds. So that means that Ortiz would have to win every single round aside the rounds with the knockdown to get a draw, and that's what the judges saw if they saw. So I wasn't upset with the draw. Personally, I mean, I had to go back and watch the TV version because it's always different when you watch fights in the arena as opposed to on TV. But from where I was sitting, I think Adorno just edged it because with 2 knockdowns, that's you're already up 4 points. You're up 4 points already, which means all Adorno would have to do is just win one round where he didn't get a knockdown, and he wins the fight. And I think he did win a round where he didn't get a knockdown. So I think he just won it, but I'm not upset at a draw. I'm not upset at a draw, because Ortiz fought a great fight. Ortiz definitely has a case. You can make the case that he won every round except the rounds he got knocked down in. I mean, I don't think he did, but you can make the case that he did. Jesus M says Ortiz should have gone to the body and he should have did more uppercuts. Yeah, he should have. But you know what? I give Ortiz, Jermaine Ortiz, a lot of credit. It was only a 16 professional fight. If you were to look at the gap in experience between these two before the fight, it wasn't like large, but it was definitely noticeable. I believe I was looking at their amateur records. Ortiz as an amateur had 100 wins and 14 losses, and Adorno had 178 wins and 22 losses. So Adorno was the more experienced amateur fighter. Adorno had more rounds in the professional ranks, and Ortiz is at a stage of his career where he could have easily continued to pad his record and fight these guys to build himself up, but he wanted to test himself. And I think fighting under those circumstances in a hostile environment in Kissimmee, Florida, where the whole crowd, except for like 10 people, me being one of them, is against you, I think that gets him better as a fighter. That he's someone that I'm gonna keep my eyes on at welterweight as one of these guys that people don't talk about that could make some waves in the future. Because I love what I saw from him. And hey, the fight of the night, just that was the fight of the night, no doubt about it. And like right now, by the way, guys, if you guys are wondering what the hell Pops is at McDonald's right now. He's getting some breakfast. So when Pops gets back, we'll have Pops come and give you his thoughts on the fights. But until then, I'm gonna talk to you guys. Guido says Lomachenko versus Nakatani is official. What are your thoughts about that fight? Oh man, I don't know how much them tickets are gonna cost, but we're gonna find a way. We're gonna make it happen here on True School Sports. 2021 is the year of making shit happen. We're gonna go to that fight. I love that fight. It's a great crossroads fight because you got a guy in Lomachenko, who was not too long ago the best fighter in boxing in the eyes of most people, taking on a guy in Nakatani who's coming off the best win of his career, where he got up off the deck and showed a lot of moxie and a lot of just grit, and a lot of toughness to get up and beat Verdejo. Are you serious? Yo, no way. Brandon Len says that's the same night as Tank versus Barrios beat. Oh my God, bro. God forgive me. God forgive me in my profanity. Fuck boxing, man. Fuck boxing. Yo, I want to watch both those fights. So you know what? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see the ticket prices for both fights. I'm sure the Tank tickets will be more expensive than the Lomachenko tickets. But if the Tank tickets are too, like, if they're too out of this world, we're not doing that. We're not going to the Tank fight. We will go to Lomachenko. I'm a fan. Big Nakatani fan. He's really won me over his last 2 fights. Man, that's crazy. Darkness. Man, that's crazy. Darkness has fallen and asks, what's the next fight you're going to, BT? All right, I'm glad you asked that. So I'll give you guys my definitive itinerary, my itinerary for right now. So the next fight I'm going to is gonna be a smaller card. It's gonna be next Saturday, in South Florida. It'll be Weston, Florida. It's gonna be Pete Dobson, welterweight prospect. Pistol Pete Dobson, 11-0, 7 KOs. He's returning to the ring. You got a lot of good local fighters fighting in South Florida next weekend. You got Isaiah Night Thompson, the most exciting fighter in South Florida. 3-0, 3 knockouts, all in the first round. He's 5'10". He's got a body like Mike Tyson. And he has a kind of similar style to Mike Tyson. I'm not saying he's as good as Mike Tyson, but I'm saying he has a similar style. You know, he brings that kind of excitement to the ring. He's had 3 fights so far. All 3 of them have ended within a minute and a half. You know, a minute 45 seconds, a minute and a half. You know, very, very explosive fighter. So I'll be at that fight next week, checking out some of the local fighters. Rob Duran Jr.'s on that card. Blake Davis. Who else? Who else? And a bunch of other fighters. So I'll be at that next week. Next weekend. The weekend after that, I'll be in Texas for the Canelo Alvarez Billy Joe Saunders fight. So if you're in Texas, you know, say what's up to your boy BT. And then after that, I'm not really sure yet. You know, I'm thinking I'm gonna go to some more fights after that. But right now, those are the 2 that are set in stone. Next weekend in South Florida and Canelo. If Tiafimo looked tiny against Nakatani and Loma looked tiny against Tiafimo, imagine how tiny Loma's gonna look against Nakatani. Yeah, that, like, do you guys remember when they were talking about the Canelo Alvarez versus when they were talking about Canelo Alvarez versus Kalen Smith and the size advantage? I'm gonna talk about Nakatani versus Lomachenko like that, because it's insane how much bigger Nakatani is. Because I think Lomachenko is what, like 5'6", maybe 5'7". Nakatani's 6'1". He's huge. Do you think Florida is supporting boxing again? Absolutely. Yeah, more than ever. Florida, I think Florida is getting to where it was in the 80s. South Florida in particular is getting to where it was in the 80s, because if you look in the 80s, South Florida was a great, Miami area was great for boxing. You know, a lot of big fights were here. You know, we had Aaron Pryor versus Arguello. I think number 1 was here, or number 2. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those fights. And you know, a lot of fighters. Roberto Duran used to fight in Miami simultaneously. If you look at Roberto Duran's career and look at the places he fought the most, I think Miami was like the most. I think he fought in oh man, I think Roberto Duran fought in Miami like 16 times or something like that. Oh snap! Brandon Lentz says, "Yo, BT. Speaking of Texas, I'm eating a sweet and spicy bacon burger from. Whoa, oh my God, man, you killing me, because I'm all the way I'm all the way over here in Kissimmee, Florida. The closest Whataburger to here is all the way. Apparently, there's Whataburgers in Jacksonville, but that's too damn far. I'm not going to Jacksonville for a sweet and spicy bacon burger right now. If I had more energy, I would. But when I go to Texas in a couple weeks, that's the first thing I'm gonna do is go to Whataburger and get me one of those. Let me see. What else did I miss? What else did I miss? Yo, BT, is it true Ryan Garcia retired because he got a lucrative deal from Netflix for a documentary special? Well, the last thing I heard about Ryan Garcia in general was yesterday. Yesterday, he had mentioned that he pulled out from the Fortuna fight to get his mental health right. So I don't know how true that is. If it's not true, I don't know. But that's what I heard. Masvidal got his wig split. Oh my God, yo! I saw the highlights when I got home last night. I watched the highlights because I heard about what happened, and yo, I am officially disowning Jorge Masvidal. You can't get knocked out like that and say you from South Florida. Oh my God, bro! Usman punched that dude into another dimension. He punched Jorge Masvidal into the 5th dimension. Jesus, man. Got his wig split. You guys got to eat healthy. Yeah, we do. We do. I mean, I drink a lot of water. I mean, look. I got water here. I drank all this yesterday. I drink a lot of water, so that's probably the healthiest thing that I do is drink a lot of water. Bro, Masvidal has like 16 losses. Oh my God, what's his record? Doesn't Masvidal have like 16 losses? Oh my God. I mean, God bless the guy for making a career for himself, coming from the hard parts of Miami and whatnot. But fuck, man, how you get knocked out like that? I'm trying to see what other comments I missed, because I know I missed quite a few comments. But shout out to everybody at your boy BT the Untouchable. I don't know where the hell Pops is at. Oh, you know what? I know where Pops is at. Pops is at McDonald's, and he's probably in a long-ass line because, you know, Kissimmee, Florida it's a small like podunk town. It's a small town, and like every fast food restaurant has a line, a massive line, because it's like the only thing in town. Like every restaurant is like the only thing in town. So he's probably in line right now. Jeez. Masvidal is a popular journeyman. He is. He has a lot of losses, but against wrestlers who hold him down. You know, I heard he's actually a pretty good boxer. You know, especially for an MMA fighter. My barber, by the way, my barber, my boy Yoasis, back in Miami at Kingdom Cuts Barbershop. My man Yoasis, who I gotta go see, by the way, cause you know my shit. I'm looking like Bruno Mars right now. When I get home, I have to go get trimmed up because it's getting wild right now. But my boy Yoasis, who was an amateur boxer, who owns a barbershop now, he actually fought Masvidal in the amateurs twice. I think he said he beat him twice. He beat him once. I think twice. I don't remember what he said, but that's gonna. I'm gonna have to interview him one day about that. Yeah, I don't know anything about UFC, so like you can say anything to me about UFC, and I'm not gonna know what you're talking about. Like I don't know anything about UFC at all, like at all. I just know like I've watched a couple of fights. I'm not like a boxing guy. Um, Masvidal is praised for losing like Luke Campbell. Yo, if Masvidal had that record if Masvidal had that same record, could you imagine if Masvidal had that same record in boxing? Nobody would care about him in boxing. It's crazy how different UFC is. He's like a superstar. He gets on video game covers with like 16 losses. It's a whole different world. A whole different world. But yeah, man. I want to give you guys. We're gonna keep talking about these fights, so you guys drop your comments, and I'll get to them, and we'll kill some time because I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be doing this till I'm gonna probably be doing this until I have to get ready to check out of here. But I want to give you guys some programming reminders because there's some things coming up on the channel that I think you guys are gonna really like. Starting tomorrow, I'm gonna have a whole smorgasbord of interviews coming out. I got my Jucan interview coming out. Jucan training footage coming out. Who else? Who else did I interview? Pete Dobson interview. I got a bunch of stuff with the kids at the Davy Powell. We got sparring sessions coming out on True School Sports, interviews, the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards. So just make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled. It's gonna be a lot of classic videos dropping this week. We're talking like 3 videos a day for like the next 5 days straight. It's gonna be insane. What do you think about Jamal Charlo's next opponent? I think it's one of the biggest cherry picks of 2021. I won't call it the biggest cherry pick of 2021 because Canelo did fight Avni Yildirim in a football stadium, and nothing is worse than that. But it's pretty bad when you consider Montiel. He's already been knocked out by Munguia. He's lost to I think he lost to Hugo Centeno. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, Jamal Charlo, he was one of the 4 guys I was saying Canelo needs to fight. I'm taking him off the list. He's ducking the hell out of anything. How can you be saying that you need to be you want to fight Canelo and all these guys, and you're fighting Montiel, who lost to Hugo Centeno Jr. That might be the worst fight. I don't know if that's the worst fight on the Showtime schedule, but if it's not the worst, it's tied for first. The other one that's just as bad as that one is Chris Colbert versus Yukio's Gamboa. Oh my god, bro. I was so gassed on Chris Colbert after what he did to Jaime Arboleda. He had me gassed as hell after what he did to Jaime Arboleda, and he turns around and he's fighting the corpse of Gamboa. I can't co-sign that. I can't. Berlanga versus Gongora? Oh my god, that'd be amazing. But I don't think Top Rank's not doing that. That's too risky right now. What would they gain from putting Gongora? What would Berlanga even gain from beating Gongora? Brian Pereira versus Tim Tszyu. That'd be a good fight. Is Brian Pereira gonna be a 154 pounder now that he went the full distance with Tony Harrison and arguably beat him? Yeah, man. Like Chris Colbert is a good fighter. I like Chris Colbert. I mean, I was there. I saw him in person years ago. I actually interviewed him years ago, but I saw him in person fight years ago when he was like a prospect when he fought Titus Williams. I saw that fight. PBC set up Montiel versus Kirkland for Montiel to win. But like, what is a win? What does a win against James Kirkland even mean at this stage of his career? No disrespect. I like James Kirkland. Fun fighter to watch. But what does that even mean at this point? He don't even got Ann Wolf in his corner. Kevin Effect. He says, shout out to cool boy Steph. He's going to unify in September. What are your thoughts on Stephen Fulton Jr.? Well, look, I gotta put some respect on his name because if you were following, if you you're probably new here, Kev, but when that fight was getting ready to happen, I talked a whole lot of shit because he fought one of my friends, and I don't really have too many. I wouldn't call too many fighters my friends, but he fought one of my very few friends in boxing that is a fighter, and that's Angelo Leo, and obviously I'm gonna support my friend, but I actually really thought, based on what I had seen from Fulton in the past with Adam Lopez, I thought he was gonna lose to Angelo Leo, and he put on a great performance. He did what he had to do. He beat him at his own game. I have nothing but respect for Fulton. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping he can continue to win and he beats these guys, and I'm hoping Angelo Leo can continue to win and improve and beats these guys. And I'd love to see a rematch with them too, because I think in a rematch, Angelo Leo will be better. I might actually be going. I might be going to training camp with Angelo Leo soon. Oh yeah, man. Ali was telling me. Ali was telling me that. He was telling me for months that Fulton was gonna win, and I didn't listen to him. I was adamant that Enzo was gonna win, but hey, you can't be right all the time. You can't be the untouchable all the time. So I humble myself. I lost. I was wrong, but he's a fantastic fighter, and I wish him nothing but the best until he fights Angelo Leo again. When he fights Angelo Leo again, then I'm gonna have to obviously go support my friend. But other than that, shout out to him. Fulton started training under Jerron Ennis's father, Boosie Ennis. Good for him, man. Boosie Ennis is a fantastic trainer. And Kevin Effect says that Fulton versus Leo is still my fight of the year. Yeah, your boy BT, man. I'll be honest. Angelo's a friend of the channel, and I do have a little bit of boxing skills, but I have to really get in shape soon because one of my friends, well, me and my boy Johnny, we were talking about it, and they wanna bring me into camp to help Angelo get ready for some of his fights. So I gotta stop eating. I gotta stop eating bullshit like this, and start running and getting in shape again. Cause Angelo Leo is a dog. I've never been in there with him before, but I'm sure with him, he's like stamina wise, he's up there. So I gotta have my stamina on point. Yo, what do you think about Edgar Berlanga, Lucas? We talked about it earlier. I thought it was I thought the fight with Nicholson was what he needed. I don't think it's what people in the crowd wanted or what fans wanted to see, but it's what he needed. He needed those 8 rounds of experience. He still dominated. He still looked good. He still scored multiple knockdowns. He had to actually use his jab and move and cut the ring off and close the gap and things like that. But I thought he did great. I thought he did great. I think with him, I want to see him fight Jesse Hart next, because that was the Jesse Hart already said that he'll fight him next if they want to make it happen. So Jesse Hart versus Balanga next. I want to see that, or Rosado or Steve Nelson. So the pool of fighters I want to see realistically are either Steve Nelson, Rosado, or Jesse Hart. Any one of those three next, and I'm okay. Fulton was coached by Nazim Richardson. Too much skill. Yeah, he was. But honestly, like, look, he got him the first fight. I give Fulton all the credit in the world for the first fight. But I'm telling you, in that rematch, it's gonna be different. Angelo Leo gonna be different. Angelo Leo, like fights like that, when a fighter loses a fight the way he lost to Fulton, you only get better from those kind of fights. And I don't know who he's gonna fight next. Wait, do I know who he's gonna fight next? Because I think they told me. Who's he fighting next? I don't even know. I can't even tell you guys. Even if I knew, I couldn't even tell you guys. But he'll be back. Brandon Lentz says, yeah, Leo is a dog. The pace he and Fulton kept up is still crazy to think about, especially with all that infighting. Yeah, it was infighting, and there wasn't. What I was impressed with in that fight was there wasn't a whole lot of holding. There wasn't a whole lot of holding. Oh, there was one fight on the card that I didn't talk about. All right, and I'm gonna talk about it because I gotta be honest. I'm gonna keep it honest and I'm gonna keep it unbiased here on True School Sports. All right. Josue Vargas. Josue Vargas. Oh my God, man. So Josue Vargas fought that dude. I think his name was Shaw. His last name was Shaw. I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Shaw. Oh my God. I mean, he got the win. Credit to Vargas and all that stuff. Good technical boxer, but I'm telling you right now, and I've been feeling this way for quite some time about Vargas. You know, he's a solid fighter, but I've been feeling this way for quite some time. The more and more I watch Top Rank step him up a little bit, he gonna get his ass beat when he steps up. Oh my God, bro, Vargas is gonna get fucking wrecked. When Vargas fights someone who throws sharp punches and can counter just a little bit, he gonna get flattened. I promise you. I promise you. What weight class is he? Oh, snap. The man is here. Do we? What time is it right now? It's about to be 11.
Yeah.
Did they say anything?
No, they won't, but they'll charge you for it. I'm pretty sure they will.
Will they really?
I don't know how they work here. I mean, you want to get charged for it, do you?
No, I don't want to get charged for it.
Yeah, they'll charge you. They do not.
All right, well.
It's like a business.
That's true. Hey, well, listen. It's about to be 11 o'clock. I think we're going to have to check out soon. But before we check out, just for like 10 minutes, I'm going to go pack my stuff up and eat.
Yeah,
Pops, talk to him. Talk to him.
I want to get everything ready. We'll show you out of here.
What do you got your stuff packed up?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great time, guys. It was probably the best time in the world.
You take your mask off.
No, that I had in a long time. And let me tell you, man, Balanga, my son said he had a great fight. I think he went the extra rounds. It was the best thing that ever happened to him. He got tested. He came in there, did what he had to do, but he's going to learn from this. One of the biggest things that BT got from this was that he says that Berlanga needs to go ahead and feint more. I told Brandon that he's going to learn from this fight, and he's only going to get better. So when he does fight Canelo, when that time comes, he's going to learn from it. Ben doesn't think that he's going to learn how to feint. He's going to come straight. Berlanga's going to be a straightforward boxer. A fighter. I said he'll learn from this and he'll get better. And it was good for him to get the rounds that he got. So I'm happy about that. Navarre did what I said he was going to do. Batufa was nothing but a bitch.
Damn.
Slow. He fucking didn't attack when he was supposed to attack. Got dropped 3 times. So that's about the only fight that I was really, I already knew who's going to win.
How about the Jermaine Ortiz Ordona fight?
Oh, that was fire. The Jermaine Ortiz and Ordona fight was great. Jermaine Ortiz is a polished, skilled fighter that's going to get better, and he's going to do some fucking around in his division. I'm telling you that, guys, right now.
Oh, you like him?
I think he's going to come out. He's a warrior. The only reason Ordona won is because of his counterpunching when he had it. Other than that, what's his name was beating the shit out of him. But, I mean, it was a great fight. Ordona won. Shout out to Puerto Rico. But watch out for Ortiz. He's going to be something to reckon with. The other fight that was there was
Josue Vargas.
Yeah, it's about.
I was just talking about him.
Yeah. He's gonna be something. He's all right. I didn't think he's gonna be that. I don't know what you guys expect him to be, but I don't expect him to be this great Puerto Rican fighter or where the fuck he's from. I don't think he's gonna be the best one. But as far as me, it was Berlanga, Devarte, Xander. Shout out to Davey Powell. I was screaming my lungs out for Davey Powell because he could say there's someone Puerto Rico. I know it's Puerto Rican thing. Davey Powell. I actually ran into some people from the Xander gym and talked to them. So shout out for his support. Happy for him. You better watch out for him because he's gonna be another Puerto Rican that people don't want to play with. The whole card was great, guys. I ain't gonna lie to you. The whole card was fucking great. Anywhere I go, I get along with everybody.
Tell them about the guy from DC and
I know.
the couple in front of us.
First, there was a couple in front of us. The guy looked like he was a dickhead because he had his wife there and he had his friend there, and I was fucking screaming my lungs out. You know how I scream. So he told his wife, if this guy keeps screaming in Spanish, I have to leave. Well, Come to find out, as the night goes on, he ends up high-fiving me. We're buying beers together. The wife is happy. The brother's happy. So, I mean, it turns out to be a positive thing because that's what I want to bring when I go meet people. I'm not there to try to criticize them, just have a good time. That was great. But the best part for me was the guys from D.C., that was right next to us when Balanga was going to fight
There was like
Nicholson.
five black dudes, all
Yeah,
from DC.
who all of them just come in a gang in front of me. Ah! And I'm like, so I'm like, yeah, shout out to DC. They actually broke up Balanga's streak. He's the only guy that's done it from DC. Even though he got fucked up by Berlanga, you gotta give credit to them. We had a great time. We talked about him. We talked about Marcus Cooley from DC. They got along good with me. I mean, the whole card for me was good. And the best part, the fucking beautiful woman from Puerto Rico. Shout out Papa Rico.
Tell them about that.
Oh my God, man! I had some girls looking at me left and right. Women looking at me left and right. If I get home, wife, I still love you, but this is just a fact of life. Yeah, women looking at me left and right, and let me tell you, man, they were their guys, and they still wanted to talk to this guy. I don't know what I bring to the table, but whatever it is, they like the charisma, they like the way I get along with everybody, and that's just it. But like I say, I'm happy for you guys being here. I'm happy you guys keep following True School Sports because it's only going to get better. I'm going to tell you that again. It's only going to get better and to the top, and we can't do it without you guys. So you make sure you hit that like button. God bless to all you guys. I don't know what the comments say. You might want to look at it. But we had a great time.
I'll get it in the comments. You probably missed some comments. All right, so I'm gonna stand up for like 2 or 3 minutes, but we gotta get out of here because it's about to be checkout.
Yeah.
Let me see. Pop's in the building. He said Pop still got it. LMAO. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm gonna get up on out of here, guys. But listen, again, program reminders for next week. This upcoming week, Jucan interviews. We got training footage coming out, sparring footage coming out, interviews with all kinds of people, kids, professionals, contenders, champions, and everything else in between. So please be on the lookout for that. The next fight we're going to is next Saturday in Weston, Florida, at the Bonaventure Country Club and Resort. Bad Promotions. It's a Bad Promotions card. We got Pistol Pete Dobson, welterweight prospect, headline in the card. Blake Davis, Isaiah Night Thompson. Who else on that card? I can't remember everybody, but there's a lot of people on that card from South Florida. Rob Duran Jr., Roberto Duran's son's on the card. So that's the next one we're going to. We'll have more content coming up this week. As soon as we get home, I have to go try to get my interview with George Cambosos Jr. because I ran into Peter Kahn last night, and I talked to him very briefly, and he said to come by the gym next week. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So don't be surprised next week if you get a George Cambosos Jr. interview. But we appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the love and support. We're going to check out of here and go home now because it's a long way back home. JJ Romano says, Gucci Mane lives in Weston, Florida, right off of Griffin Road. That's right, Gucci Mane. Gucci. That's right. Davie, Florida, and Sunrise. Shout out, hey, South Florida, stand up. And yeah, we know Pop still got it. We know Pop still got it. So, hey, I'm going to get out of here. You guys take care. Have a blessed day. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding from Dania. Also, make sure you guys be on the lookout for the entire round-by-round reaction of the Edgar Balanga fight. You're going to see how crazy my pops was. It's like 30, almost 40 minutes long, but you'll want to watch the whole thing. It's great stuff. So be on the lookout for that. It's dropping later on today, and take care.